You are standing in the leasing office of an apartment you cannot quite picture yourself living in yet, filling out an application with a $65 fee that will not come back to you no matter what happens in the next 4 minutes. The woman behind the counter types a 9-digit number into a portal you cannot see. Somewhere inside that portal, a different number appears next to your name, 3 digits. You have never met them. You did not choose them. But before you leave this office, they will have already decided more about your life than your resume, your references, or the year you have spent looking for a decent place to live. That number is your credit score. And whether it's 300 or 850, it is quietly negotiating on your behalf in rooms you are never invited into. Level 1, 300 to 499. You are rebuilding from something, a bankruptcy, a stretch of unpaid medical collections, a marriage that ended and took the joint accounts down with it. The leasing office declines you outright, not rudely. The system does it before a human even reads your name. You're offered a version of the apartment that requires a co-signer with a job, a credit history, and a willingness to be legally responsible for your rent if you fall behind. You don't have one of those. So you look elsewhere. And elsewhere costs more. The complexes that accept applicants at your score charge a deposit worth 2 months' rent instead of 1, because the system has priced in the risk that you leave first and pay last. You try to open a basic credit card. You're offered a secured one, which means you hand over $300 of your own money so the bank can hold it as collateral and lend it back to you at 28% interest. You are paying to borrow money that was already yours. You take it anyway, because a secured card at 28% is still better than no card at all, and no card at all means no way to ever climb out of the number that put you here. Your phone carrier asks for a deposit before they'll activate a plan without a cosigner. Your electric company does the same. None of these companies think you're a bad person. They've never met you. They've only met the number, and the number says, this one might not pay.
Level 2, 500 to 579. Something has shifted, barely. You've made 6 months of on-time payments on the secured card, and the system has noticed even if nobody's told you. An unsecured card offer arrives in the mail. A real one this time. No collateral required. The limit is $500. The interest rate is 24%. You take it because at this level, access matters more than terms. You go to buy a used car because the transmission on the old one finally gave out. The dealer runs your credit and the number that comes back changes his entire posture. He doesn't say no. He says yes at 19% APR over 6 years on a car worth $8,000. By the time you've paid it off, you will have paid nearly double the sticker price. You know this. You do the math in the parking lot. You sign anyway because you need a way to get to work tomorrow, and tomorrow doesn't care what the math says. Your auto insurance renews and the premium is 40% higher than your coworkers on the same car in the same zip code with the same clean driving record. In most states, insurers are legally allowed to weigh your credit history into what they charge you for driving safely. Nobody explains this at checkout. It's just quietly built into the number on the bill. Level 3, 580 to 669. The world starts speaking to you differently, in small ways you almost don't notice. The apartment application still asks for a deposit, but it's 1 month's rent now, not 2. The cosigner requirement disappears entirely. A loan officer approves you for an FHA mortgage program for the first time, the kind built for people who don't have 20% to put down. The rate is higher than the number you'll hear advertised on television, and you'll carry mortgage insurance on top of your monthly payment for years. But the door that was welded shut at level 1 now has a handle on it. Your unsecured credit card graduates to a real limit, $2,000 instead of $500. The interest rate barely moves. Access opened before affordability did, and that gap is where a lot of people at this level quietly get stuck, able to borrow more, still paying a penalty for every dollar of it. Level 4, 670 to 739. You are, without fully realizing it, what the financial system calls a normal customer. The word good starts appearing next to your score on the apps that track it for you. Auto lenders compete for your loan now. Instead of merely approving it, you get 2 or 3 offers and pick the best rate instead of taking the only one on the table. Credit card offers stop requiring you to apply. They arrive addressed to you, pre-approved, printed in the kind of ink that makes them look expensive. Rewards programs, cashback, travel points become available for the first time because the banks have decided you're profitable enough to compete over. A conventional mortgage becomes available without the insurance penalty that trailed you at level 3, as long as you can put down the standard amount. The rate quoted to you is close to the number advertised on the news. Not the best number, close to it. Level 5, 740 to 799. The system starts working slightly in your favor instead of merely tolerating you. Credit card companies offer 0% introductory financing on purchases and balance transfers, a courtesy that was never on the table at any level below this one. You could put $10,000 on a card today and pay it back over 18 months without a cent of interest if you manage it carefully. The credit limits attached to your name climb into 5 figures without you requesting an increase. The best advertised mortgage rate, the one from the commercials, is now realistically yours to negotiate. Loan officers stop treating the conversation as an approval process and start treating it as a sale they'd like to close. Auto dealers offer manufacturer financing promotions at 0 or near 0%, offers that were quietly withheld from you at every level below this one, even though you were standing in the same showroom. Level 6, 800 to 850. You rarely think about your credit score anymore, which is itself the clearest sign of what it's bought you. The apartment complex waives the deposit outright or lowers it to a token amount because your file reads as close to zero risk as the system allows. The mortgage rate you're offered sits at the very bottom of the published range, and it was offered before you asked. Credit card issuers who wouldn't return your call at level 1 now compete to be your primary card, sending invitations to products with no published interest rate on the marketing material at all. Because at this tier, the assumption is you'll never carry a balance long enough for the rate to matter. Insurance premiums, auto loans, even the rental application. The friction that defined every level below this one has simply stopped existing. Nobody is deciding whether to trust you anymore. The decision was made by the number before you walked in the room. Somewhere right now, someone is standing in the leasing office of an apartment they cannot quite picture themselves living in yet, filling out an application with a $65 fee that will not come back no matter what happens next. The woman behind the counter is typing a 9-digit number into a portal they cannot see. They don't know yet whether the 3 digits waiting on the other side of that portal will open the door or quietly close it before a human ever reads their name. The number was never a judgment on who you are. It has no opinion about your character, your effort, or how hard the last few years have been. It is only a prediction, a bet the system makes about what you're likely to do next, built entirely from what you've already done. And the strange, uncomfortable truth sitting underneath every level of this system is the same one that was true at the very first level. You were the same person the entire time. The number was the only thing that changed, and the number was the only thing anyone was ever looking at.